All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is your host, Crystal Jordan, and this is Reality Check on a Tuesday. We've had a lot going on, had a lot happening yesterday, and so we had to switch this conversation to today. But I'm excited to see you guys are locked in, and I'm excited to be able to talk about something else outside of the Oscar situation, right? I am so tired of talking about that. So we get a chance to talk about, Ready to Love. We're back right here talking to the very beautiful Ace tonight. And so I think this is going to be a great conversation. You all, I always forget because I'm always so into the conversation. I'm so excited to have my guests, and I always forget to tell people to like and subscribe to the channel from Crystal XO. We are also here on Rolling Out. So make sure that you like and share this conversation. I also want to tell you all that we actually, myself and Little Black Book, partnered with OWN, and we have a recap on Put a Ring on It. You can actually see that show on OWN's YouTube. So make sure you check that out. Let me know what you think, and chime in the chat. You guys do great in my chats. I love seeing your comments. So make sure you let us know what you think of Put a Ring on It. It airs on OWN's YouTube on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern. So my guy Kojo and I got a chance to actually collaborate. So that's really exciting, and I'm super hyped about that. But tonight it's all about A. So let's bring her in. Hey, lady.
Hello. What's going on, Crystal?
How are you?
I am well. How are you today?
I am awesome. Like I said, it's great to be able to talk about something else,
I know it's been a lot going on, like you said, but I hear congrats are in order. So congratulations to you and Little Black Book. That's an awesome collaboration. I'm excited about that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love collaboration, and I love especially working with others that are positive. And I've had so much respect for Kojo, so it's exciting to do that. But let's talk about Ready to Love because
Oh my goodness.
yes, Ready to Love is, I think it's my favorite show on OWN, even though, I'm very happy about Put a Ring on It, but it's my favorite because it really reflects what is happening right in the dating world. Like, we get a chance to talk about, you all are brave enough to go on the show.
Talk about
yes, and so we get a chance to kind of talk about that, but I want to start with you because you are obviously a very private person. We were trying to find your Instagram and like do some background research, and I'm like, she is very private.
Yes.
So what possessed you to actually go on a dating show and allow us, to be a part of this very vulnerable journey for yourself?
Yeah, great question. You are right. I'm very private. I mean, my life is like, locked key, locked away type of thing. Instagram's still on private. I am thinking about opening that soon. But, to be very transparent, I decided to take a leap of faith in this journey, right? Like, I had just gotten to the point where I felt like things were aligning for me, and that I don't know, maybe just by taking this leap, I would meet like my person, right? My one. So the way that things kind of align with my family saying, girl, you need to find you a man, you need to sign up for this show. And me feeling like this feeling of something new to come, I just felt like it was the right thing in the right time. So I took the leap.
Okay. Well, we're excited that you did. I think people are saying it's refreshing to see someone that's actually like private and not obviously not coming on television to be on television. Really, honestly, wanted to find their person. Tell us a little bit about, I think we can all relate to the family members that they mean well, but maybe putting a little bit of pressure on us there. Tell us about your dating history and your relationship history a little bit prior to, what was happening prior to you signing up for the show.
Yeah, it was not really much happening there prior to this show, I would say. I beforehand had a lot of long-term relationships, right? My longest being with my ex-husband at the time, and that marriage had been null and void for over 10 years. So it was like time for like something new. I will say that I went through this amazing type of spiritual journey. Like once my marriage was over, right?
Mhm.
That's where I found yoga. So that's like the little pun that everybody talks about on the show. But honey, yoga helped me. Okay. So I just went on this spiritual journey. And in doing so, I kind of just fell back in love with myself. I fell back in love with the divine. I fell back in love with just the way that the universe always finds a way to support you in whatever you need, right? And I
Yes.
got so comfortable with that that I kind of like forgot about finding that person that can just make the world look a little bit better,
Yeah.
just make it more beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And my family's like, you got to get out the comfort zone. You don't go anywhere. Like, how you gonna find your man? You don't even go like out to social events, or
Yeah.
your Instagram is private, so the people who follow you are people you know. So
Right.
it was just quiet. Like it was time for something different. So this is absolutely extreme. Don't get me wrong, but I felt like it was something that I was ready and willing to take that chance.
Yeah. Well, I think, I said, all season since we met you that you have this calming energy. And people are saying that in the chat. Miss Gemini said you have the calmest spirit. And I liken you to Erykah Badu just because Erykah Badu has this energy that when you go see her in concert or you're around her, you just feel like it just feels good. You just kind of want to sidle up next to it and get some of that, and I think you have that. We were able for us to be able to, as viewers, feel that through the edits and everything else on the show. That means that you've definitely done your work. And is that something that you hear a lot, or is that a testament to the work that you've done?
Thank you. I just want to thank you, the viewers, and everyone for like that feedback. Right. I would say that it has a lot to do with the work. It has a lot to do with being mindful. It has a lot to do with flowing. A lot of times we just get in our heads and we try to control everything that's going on around us, or we're worried about what we need to do yesterday and what's coming up tomorrow. But it's like once you find a way to just kind of stay present in the moment, your mind is able to kind of let go of those things, and you kind of find yourself in a level of like comfort or peace. And that's not to say that, things don't come up for me. I am human, right? But it's all about being able to reflect and see and move forward. That's what makes us better and kind of
Mhm.
keeps us in that sense of balance. So it's something that I strive for daily, but I'm glad that I've gotten to a place where it's able to be attained when needed. So
Yeah.
thankful.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that I think everyone can learn from that. I don't know if I need to start yoga.
Look, you already know I'm an advocate. Come on, do some yoga. I'm telling you, it's just
How did you get started doing that? Did someone else bring you, or did you start? Were you looking for ways to, looking for something to kind of help you with your journey? How did you get started?
yeah, actually, one of my mentors in philanthropy, Victor, actually tapped me on the shoulder one day and said, "Hey, Angel, like you should think about doing like hot yoga." And I was like, okay. I was already into meditation very heavily, but I hadn't really connected the movement of yoga to that as of yet. And so I signed up for yoga, hot yoga, as my first yoga class ever. And
Okay.
when I say it took the wind out of you, girl, I mean, hair was all, it was something else. But the feeling that I had afterwards of accomplishment and level headedness and peace, it was something that I had not really experienced before. And it made me want to take it a step further. So, shout out to my mentor for putting me on, but it definitely has been something where it's like if you know meditation, then you know life. You
Yeah.
know yoga, then you know life. So I just
Okay.
try to share that with everyone.
Okay. Before we move forward, I just want to
Let
ask
me
you
fix my hair. I'm
no,
sitting here playing. Okay.
the bangs are tousled. It's good. It's just a tousled bang. It's super.
Yeah. Thank you.
What is the difference between yoga and hot yoga? Because I've been in my daughter does yoga. I don't know. I don't think it's hot yoga, but what is the difference between those two?
Yeah, so I mean, yoga you can do just, anywhere, right, without any type of heat. You can just have a nice little flow. I would say hot yoga, you're in a room over 80 plus degrees.
Ooh.
Yeah, the humidity is at a certain level as well, and you're going through a number of 26 yoga poses. They're all in a sequence in order to get you to that final savasana. So it's definitely worth it, but you feel the heat, literally, right, when you're in
Okay.
there. The other thing I would say is that the heat just allows your joints to kind of like flow and stretch a lot more, and so it gives a better flow for your yoga if that's something that you're into.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's good information. We may have to talk about that later. But so you're in a very zen place, and then you sign up for Ready to Love. We know that there's a process that you all go through before you're accepted on the show. You get on the show, and then you come to the mixer. What is your thoughts? What are your thoughts when you first get there? You see the guys, you see the ladies. What's going on in your head?
Um, oh my God. Oh my God, right? Like, it's almost like a surreal moment because you know that you've signed up to like, um, for this journey, right? But then you see all the people, you see the cameras, you see like this is not really just about the journey. Like you are being watched, you are being mic'd. So it almost changes the flow a little bit, I would say. So it was that initial shock factor.
Mhm.
I am thankful for like the producers and everyone on the background because before walking in the mansion, they pull you to the side and like, look, you know, just breathe a little bit because you about
Yeah.
to walk into something that you probably don't expect.
Yeah.
And so that was the eye opening thing. Walking in, I mean, I don't know, for lack of a better correlation, it feels very high school to me. You know,
Mhm.
like you're walking into people being clicked up, and like it's like, do you butt in? Do you not butt in? Do you flow? You want everyone to. So it does have that dynamic, and then you just realize if he is here for me, baby, I got to go for mine.
Absolutely.
You start working the room and meeting these amazing people that was crazy enough to sign up for this journey with you,
Right.
right? So it's
Right.
quite an experience.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, one of your favorite clips. I have a clip of someone talking about you that we're going to talk about in a minute. But you had this cute little clip where you were like, "They keep coming with the baddies." 'Cause
Yes, baby. You for real. I remember when I said that, and that's when Carmen was coming in, Tina was coming in, and I'm just always big about like supporting women. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times you hear women like belittling one another or hating on one another, or just even it's like sometimes a fake competition in their head. But when you back each other up, honey, when you say like they come in with the baddies, baby, I
yes,
want you to get your man because your man ain't my man. So
ab-
move him out the way for me so I can get to mine. You see what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So,
Yes.
yes, I was excited for the girls coming in and, just to see what would happen with everybody in their journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, Danny asked, what was your type? And I wonder that because with you having this, this calm energy and not being pressed and feeling that way, what what kind of guy were you attracted to before? It seems like the show offers an opportunity to do something outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
But prior to the show, what was your type
Hmm.
overall?
Prior to the show, I ain't got it tight. No, I'm just I'm playing. I think that came with some of my growth, right? So back in the day when I was young, we kind of lead with the physical type, right?
Yep.
And so you get into this stigma. I'm not young anymore, so I can't even quite tell y'all what that was, but I do remember that stigma time. But I told everyone on the show, like when I was signing up, for me, what I look for, my type is a G. He has to be a G, right? And like, Ace, what do you mean? And he had to carry three things. He had to have grit, like, are you about going to get what you need to get? Because I know that I am. So I want a
Okay.
man that's like that. A man that's grounded because I mean, yes, I'm such a yogi, and so sometimes I am more so like in my happy world. Like you got to be able to ground me back down, be like, Ace, let's get So I need a man that's about that life, and then has gravitas, has a presence like about himself, right? So.
Right.
My type is a G. He has to be able to handle that, and if he is in that package, then baby, physically, you are everything that I need.
Okay.
So it's your priorities change, but yeah, I would say that G is my type.
I like that. That's different. I think that's our reality check for tonight. Grit, grounded, and gravitas. That is
Yes, baby.
definitely unique. I like that.
Thank
Well, if
you.
you guys are just tuning in, we are talking with the very beautiful Ace from Ready to Love Potomac. We did DC last season, and that was a little different, but we are here talking with Ace from Potomac. And Potomac has taken some really strange turns. We're going to get into, what you eventually did in a bit, but when you initially come, there's a room full of guys, room full of women. Was there anyone that you were initially attracted to? It doesn't even have to be physical, just energy wise. Anyone you were drawn to at that first mixer? Because we hear the mixer was long as heck. So what was your first impression? We saw you looking beautiful, and the guys, checking everybody out, and but what was your first take from that first encounter with the guys?
My first take, I would say, when I really think back, Tori stood out for me because I mean, they do show as much as they can, right? But you do have so many people having a lot of conversations.
Right.
But like in the background, me and Tori were singing, we were rapping, we were dancing. Okay. So it was like we had like a commonality or a connection, right? And so when I walked away there, it was like, okay, like I like him. He's pretty cool. So Tori stood out for me. Yeah. Okay.
Now, did you hear, because Tori, it seemed like a lot of women were attracted to Tori initially. But there's some comments that he made that were a little off, in my opinion. They may not be off to everybody, but because actually we talked to Precious and she was like, it wasn't necessarily off to her, but he made some comments about moving people's liver around and internal organs. Did you get any of that from him that first day?
No, he didn't. He didn't give that to me the first day. And this is the thing that I will say. A lot of times, when people say something that kind of sticks out, so to speak, right? You'll see that constantly being highlighted, but that may not be like the constant conversation. So right. I think, does like Tori talk a little mess here and there? He absolutely does. But it's one of those things that when you're talking to someone, you understand like where it's coming off as a joke. But when something is like being shown multiple times, it's like, bruh, like, is that all you talking about? But like, man, he has a lot of substance to him. So even when he would make those remarks, I didn't take it. I guess I'm like with Precious, like the way that everyone else did. I was like, boy, you crazy, you lying, like we laugh about it. But I can totally understand where people have, different perspectives, and you have to be able to be open-minded, especially in this platform, to everyone's perspectives and how they feel about certain ththings, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I gotta play this clip because we saw Laverne. We had Laverne on, and actually he gave a great interview. He was very transparent, but this clip of him talking about you in deliberation, I was just like, wow, there's a lot of times men will give women compliments, but this compliment from Laverne about you, I was like, wow, we like Ace, but this may be the man that she's supposed to be with if he sees her like that. Let's watch this clip, and then I want to hear your thoughts when you saw this, because I know you guys watch it with us. So let's watch this clip and hear your perspective on Mr. Laverne.
Okay.
Be honest with y'all, from what I got with Ace, I couldn't get past yoga.
Couldn't get past her yoga?
Yeah, I couldn't get past just her talking about yoga and what she does. I'm like, all right, I get it.
There's more to her than yoga.
It has to be more than that. Ace is good energy, right? But that's all I got from her.
I think differently, right? She's multidimensional. She is love. She is the epitome of a phenomenal woman. She is Oprah. She is Michelle.
Ooh.
She is Beyonce. She is Jill Scott.
I ain't get none of that.
She is
She is
You said Oprah, Michelle,
Cardi B, and then some.
Okay, Laverne, give me a minute.
Okay.
You and Paul do a lot to me. Okay, I gotta take y'all in doses.
First of all, Tommy is stupid. That was hilarious. He said, you and Paul do a lot. Girl, what did you think when he basically called you Maya Angelou's phenomenal woman and gave us examples of women that we have the utmost respect for?
Yes. Humbled is not even right, like the word that I could use. Like as you're watching it, I'm watching it too. So I did not know that he said these things. So yeah, it touched, right? I was like, okay, like, what can you say to that? On the flip side, it's almost one of those things where I really feel that about all women, right? We all have like this special something in us. And that's kind of how I took what he was saying. Like, we all have like something in us that those women have, right? And sometimes people see it. I came into this journey looking for the opportunity to find that person, and I see them and they see me.
Okay.
And I was really grateful in that moment that he saw, like, even I can't sit here like Beyonce, baby, compare me to anybody like that. I was like, Michelle, wow, right? But no, I'm totally humbled. I'm thankful to even be seen in any type of connection with any type of greatness. So I was very humbled and thankful for that.
Well, I like your answer, but yeah, I don't think all women have all of that. Like, we all have our own special, but that was definitely a compliment that was specific to you and what he saw in you. And you know, Laverne seemed to be someone that really was genuine, and also might not have necessarily been a person that would come across great on TV, but he seemed to be extremely authentic and extremely genuine. Talk about you guys, you know, connection, because we saw that there was, at least from what we saw, there was a little bit of a connection, and he obviously was extremely, you know, blown away, you know, I would say enchanted, you know, by you. So tell us about how that started, and if you felt that way towards him as well.
Yeah, you know, I see like the different ways that the storyline between Vern and I is portrayed. But there is so much that has gone like unseen.
Okay.
A lot of things that I would see for the first time, but I can only speak for my connection. And when I say like he was a stand-up guy, he was always kind, he was always present. It was like something nice, right? Something different, and I could appreciate him in so many different ways, right?
Okay.
A lot of our connection, I would say, took place like off camera. It was a lot of communication. It was a lot of talking. And to me, that's what's needed in order to really like peel back the layers of people, because it's hard to do that when you're on a date for 2 hours that's being filmed and you're stopping and you're starting. You need those times where you're talking on the phone and you're connecting to get an understanding. And through that, I learned so much more about Laverne. You know what I mean? And, you know, people look at me and they judge me like, oh, she's so like this and that. Like, so they think I have no type of personality, you know. I can see how someone can take just the face value and judge someone. And I try not to do that. And so I was thankful for the connection that Laverne and I had.
Were you into Laverne?
Yeah, me and Laverne were into each other. Like, this was something that was really transpiring on camera, right? So when we would go out, I was like, okay, like he ain't playing no games, you know? Like, he would say little things. It was really like a true dating experience. So it wasn't like, oh, like, no, like, I mean, I was like really into him. And I will also say this, since, are we sipping tea yet?
We're sipping tea. Come on with the tea.
I'm not the only woman that was into Laverne. You know what I mean? Like, again, things are shown in different ways. But, like, you know, I think all in all, like, he's a good guy. There's a lot of great guys on the cast, and absolutely.
But this is weird disconnect. So I want to dig a little deeper, because for him to feel that way, for him to say that about you, and even how he left when he was eliminated, that was it was disappointing the way he responded, you know, to Sabrina. But it seemed like he was just he felt very just like people had judged him unfairly. He felt very misunderstood. Do you understand where that energy came from? How frustrated he was? Did you see that before he ended up leaving, that he was really frustrated, and he felt like he actually, you know, acknowledged here that he felt like a lot of the women were like plotting against him. Like, it was really shocking to hear his take, but that was his perspective. So I'm just, how did you see that?
I can, I just, I would say that when I think about it, I could see where he could have that type of feeling. You know
Do you
what I
think
mean?
he was
Like,
misunderstood? Do you think he was misunderstood by the other cast, but some of the other ladies on the cast?
could be based upon like I would say yes, based upon the comments that I would see like on the
Mhm.
show, things I would say. I would say that that's a level of misunderstanding could be portrayed there. And again, this is from my perspective, because
Mhm.
this is the other thing that a lot of people don't understand. When you're connecting with anyone, you only see them when you see them.
Right.
So when they're on group dates or they're doing or individual dates, you're not there. So
You don't
you're
see that.
seeing things unravel just as
Right.
everyone else is. But from what I gathered from my time, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I asked him this, and I don't think he knew the answer. I don't know if maybe there's something. I know where there's a reunion coming up, but with you all having that connection, and then we see that you made a decision to self-eliminate because you didn't, which I respect. I think the viewers respect, and again, it goes back to you being authentic, right? So at this point, I don't feel like there's a connection for me, so I'm not going to just stay here and try to play the game. Why? Can you explain why you and Laverne didn't kind of walk off into the sunset?
um, I can say just that comes out if you continue to watch. So
Okay.
I don't know if I should say that and spoil that. I mean, maybe others have, because Lord knows that every time I go to IG, I'm seeing something leaking out. So I don't know, but I would say stay tuned, and more of that will come as far as like why that didn't happen. But some things are not meant to be, right? And again, that goes with being like reflective and acceptance and realizing that what is for you will be for you, baby. You know what I mean? And so if something don't work out, that's because God has something even the greater.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
So
universe, line it up, boo.
yes. Well, talk to us about that decision because, like I said, I respect that. And we've seen people do that in the past, but we also see people that when their connection leaves, they try to kind of move around and find another connection. What made you, come to the decision to end your journey on the show?
Um, you know, full transparency, I wasn't about that life, as far as I was willing to see like where Laverne and I's like journey would go.
Mhm.
But when I really took a step back and looked at the guys that were remaining there, they weren't for me. You know what I mean? And honestly, like to keep it 100, as I like to say, if I really felt a connection there for me, I would have stayed.
Yeah.
But if I stayed and I didn't feel anyone was there, I'm just staying to be messy. I'm staying to break up potential connections.
Right.
I'm really here to support whatever love may be out there. And for me to stay and like try to maneuver in that, that's less than the woman that I want to be. So I knew at that point, like, no, like, let me nurture the connection that's here. God would let me know where to go with that. But, I'm not going to sit here and stand in the way of love if it's out there.
I like that. I like that. But it's unfortunate because we enjoyed seeing you on, we enjoyed watching you.
Thank you.
Did you have were there any other connections for you at all besides Laverne because there's so much that we don't see that happens off camera that, doesn't necessarily make the storyline. So was there anyone else that initially might have been an option or you felt some chemistry with?
No.
Okay.
I laugh. I looked at some of the tweets and stuff. It was like, Ace Man is not in this cast.
Yeah.
But what I will say, like, there were connections there, but just not in that like romantic sense. Like
right.
not in that baby. It's you, baby.
Yeah.
And that's like what I was looking for, right? Like it's that special something.
Mm-hmm.
So what I will say is that, man, they did me and Paul wrong because me and him started off like on the wrong foot from what you guys see on episode 1. But he's like one of my like besties, right? Like we had some amazing times on film that unfortunately just did not get seen. So there were connections out there where I truly like built something with like some of the different guys, but you just don't see them. So it's quite unfortunate. Yeah.
That is, I was going to ask you about Paul because he's another one that obviously has to be misunderstood, at least from the clips that we see, because people really, he came out the gate with the PO and everybody was like, what is he talking about? What is happening? But when I've interviewed all the ladies that have come on, everyone has said something really positive about Paul. And it's unfortunate that we haven't really gotten to see that a little bit better as the season has gone on. But do you think that Paul kind of had a rough go of it? Even in that clip that we just saw, Tommy was like, Paul did a lot initially. He did come off a little awkward, but sometimes I think that people just aren't, like, they're not reality TV ready. Right. So they come off and people make judgments because of that. What do you think about just watching the edits and how the show is laid out and how people kind of have taken Paul's personality or PO's personality?
PO, yeah, I think edits have a lot to do with it, right? Because it cuts things short. Yeah. Conversations with Paul, like, he's one of the coolest people that I know, right? So I do feel like he's one of those others where it's like I don't know if misunderstood is the right word, but you only see a snippet of that person and then you just make a judgment off of that quick snippet, right? So I can see where he kind of comes off as like, choppy or like, what is he talking about here? But, as he said in like the last episode, like he has his dad jokes and like, I don't know, I laugh at him. I was like, it was funny, bro. Like, I get it. So I think a lot of people, as you can see in the look, you'll probably also see just like how cool of a person he is amongst others that, are part of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think about the curveballs? Because the season moves so quickly. When we talked to Tiffany, she was like, all this that played out, on 4 weeks really kind of happened like in a few days. Mm-hmm. So you all have that, you have a short period of time to get to know everybody, and then they throw in other singles to kind of see if it breaks up the connection or if it strengthens or it lets you know that there's really something. So what did you think about the Kurt Donovan and Cornelius and even Carmen, the people that were kind of thrown in? Were they able to because they kind of get thrown in the deep and they got to kind of sink or swim?
Right. I think that curveballs have their pros and their cons, right? On the pro side, I feel like if you've made a connection, it really kind of shows if you're about that life or if you're someone who is like quick to just, go with the next pretty toy that arrives, Not to say, their toys, but I'm just saying in general, right? Yeah. But then the con is maybe you do gravitate that way, but you've lost so much opportunity to get to know that person because there's this thing of let's have, these new people come. Mm-hmm. So for me, if I had to like weigh the pros and cons, I would say let us all start in the beginning and really get that opportunity. Yeah. They don't have to feel that anxiety of, rushing to catch up. And if you've made a connection, you don't have to feel like, darn, I'm about to slide to the left.
Yes.
Such and such then showed up. So, it definitely has its pros and its cons. I hope that answers it, but that was my thought process behind it.
Yeah, it does. I agree. And I think I agree with what you said. It's cool because it definitely makes great TV, but I think it puts pressure, at least on the people that are thrown in, because they got to really just hurry up. They got to get in, hurry up.
Yes.
So what did you watching it, taping it, and then watching it? What has been what's the biggest difference between, were you surprised by what made the cut and what didn't make the cut? Did you what were your thought process through going through filming and then actually seeing it every week with us?
Definitely a learning experience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also like, they can't show everything that happened on your date with all these. So you kind of go through those moments. But I feel like there were some moments where I feel like it would have had a bigger impact on an audience overall if it had been shown versus things that were shown. Yeah. So you kind of see like how story flows and things of that nature. That was like eye-opening. So I was definitely surprised about certain things that were there and not there. Yeah. But also understanding. It started to make some sense as to how they edit things, I would say. But
What about your own journey? I always ask people, what did they learn about themselves? Because even, you acknowledged when we first started this interview that this is definitely out of your comfort zone. It was you taking a leap of faith. What did you learn from this journey, and what will you do differently moving forward with dating?
Hmm. What I learned is that my top or my introductory person is definitely like my yoga side. And that was kind of
Yes,
funny,
yes.
it's like, I'm like, man, I'm so like versatile, but they can only show like kind of certain things that you show of yourself, right? And so I showed where there are some ways where I start off very guarded. And guess who said that? Paul. But I'm sitting there like, do I want to like really let all of the different layers of Ace show, right?
Mhm.
So I learned to be a little bit more open, because you can't receive anything that you're not open to receive,
Very
you
true.
know?
Very
So this showed me like, okay, Ace, like you have to be, if you're ready for love, you also have to be open to receive it. And you have to
There you go.
trust that the person on the other end is open with you, baby. So it's like, just go for it. So I would say that was like my biggest thing that I learned from myself, is to be flow a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Open up.
Did I answer your question? I started talking, girl. I'm not going
No,
to.
you good. Yeah. Trust me. If I need to, I'll go back and ask again. Put it a different way and come back.
Yeah. See, you good at what you do. Okay.
I have no problem re-asking and reformatting the question. Now, I do want to. Did you see when you decided to do this? Did you see other seasons of Ready to Love? Did you watch it kind of to update yourself on what was going to happen? And if so, what season did you see?
I did. I looked at everything but DC, which is funny because I think by the time I found out I was on the show, I was too scared to look at DC because I knew I was about to be on, and so I was like, no, I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to look at it. But
Yeah.
I was a very big fan of the show. Like, that's what really like got me here. My family used to look at it and they were like, girl, you signing up. Your man is out here. And so that's kind of like what we did, but totally a big fan of the show.
Were there any couples or any singles in particular from past seasons that you were like, I think I would be a good match with him, or I wish he would be on the season that I'm going on?
I would say like, no, not initially. Like I can't say like I would look at season 2, 3, or 1 through 4. And say like, oh, I was looking at that person,
Yes.
or so not technically, no.
You are giggling, and it's funny because the comments you already
Take my
know.
sip, boo. I ain't got time for this today, okay?
You already know.
An hour already, aren't we?
No, ma'am. It's been 37 minutes, 38 minutes, not an hour. No, ma'am.
Jeez, this seat is hot. Let me change my view here. Okay, let me make sure. No, I'm just playing. I'm good. I'm
So
back.
Keisha says we heard the rumors go. And I know the reunion has not aired yet, but it's not even birds at this point.
I got to fix my hair. I can't. Go ahead. What you say? I should have let the whole thing hang.
Hey, don't do us like this. Now we are hearing the rumor mill is saying that you have found love with a member of the DC cast. So I'm gonna ask you something. Do you know Tyrone from DC? Are you familiar with him?
Yes, I am. I'm familiar with. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Let me just ask this: is Tyrone a G? Do you think he's a G? Does he have grit? Is he grounded? And does he have Is he gravitate? Does he have gravitas?
Tyrone is absolutely a G. And in my perspective, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, Lord. Yes, indeed.
So, are you able to share with us, or do we need to contact you at another time after the reunion? Because the word in the streets are definitely, and we love Tyrone. We definitely loved him. He had, he was, I think a lot of times you just don't get a chance to see the whole person, and then they come on here like you are, and we see some great just a great person. So we love Tyrone, but you know, we just want to know the people are like, you know, Ace, we love her. We want her to find love. We think maybe she has found it.
I would say I have found something very special and rare.
Okay.
And different than I could imagine with Tyrone. Sometimes you just have to allow the universe to flow. So
Yeah.
I would just tell everyone to kind of, you know, stay tuned and, you know,
We
more
definitely,
to come.
we definitely. Somebody say we gotta call Tyrone.
Look, and call on Tyrone. Y'all know that Erykah. Call.
I love it.
Let me reel it in.
I love it. I love it. No, I mean, because this show is really about hope for other people, I think, right? After a certain point, all of us have you know, had love and lost love and all that. And I think this is an opportunity for people to see that it can be out there. It may not come in the way that you think, but it can come in a different way. What advice besides, I love the idea of yoga. I want to try hot yoga, and then I'm going to send you a DM to your private IG and let you know what I thought. But what advice would you give to women? Because I think most of the audience for Ready to Love are you know, predominantly female that are looking and want to see that there is hope out there, and maybe there are some things that need to be adjusted and things that need to be changed in order for you to be open. So what advice would you give outside of, you know, loving yourself and going on that journey and then being open? What else would you say has worked for you and that you would suggest for other women?
Being mindful of whatever it is that you want. Like a lot of times we play in our minds, like, I'm ready for this new place, so I'm ready for this new mate, or I'm ready for this new opportunity. But we don't actually state it what it is, like say it out loud, claim what you want. I think when you do that, not think, but I know when you do that, things shift. You start to work things out in your favor. I know that sounds very basic, very elementary, but as women, we tend to worry about everyone else. Absolutely. So we're mindful of what this person needs. We'll write that stuff out on a to-do list for everyone else, but we will not take the time to write it out for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And I think once you start doing that, other things start to kind of align themselves with like your purpose, your passion, and then that's when you really start to stand in your power, right? So I always say be present in the moment, be well, you know, Black wellness, and then be, you know, if you're able to do that, a lot of things tend to flow.
To fall in place. Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you one last question. I appreciate you hanging out with us for 42 minutes.
We did it. Thank you for dealing with me, because I was a little nervous with this interview, so I didn't know how this was going to go. No,
I try to make these conversations like I'm talking to a friend, and that's really what we watch you all, the people in the chats. We're all like, you know, it's an extended family, but we're watching, and you know, I'm always going to be positive, and I never try to put people on the spot. I want you to feel comfortable. But I want to ask you from the show, I don't know what's happening with Potomac, because I don't like any couples. I was rooting for you and Laverne just because of the fact of him being so, like, it's just amazing to see a man that expressive about how he sees a woman. When you guys left and then we talked to him, we knew that wasn't happening. I was like, okay, Sabrina and Demetrius, I like Joy and Clifton. Are there any couples on this season, from what we've seen so far, that you are rooting for, or that you were rooting for while you were in the middle of watching it and being on the journey?
I was about to make the joke, say I'm rooting for everybody Black, but no, I am doing that too.
Yes,
shout out
yes.
Issa Rae.
Shouts out to Issa Rae for that.
Yes, ding, 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 exactly. But no, for me, again, it's a testament to why I left. I was rooting for all the couples that I saw forming, and so I'm trying to think what you guys have seen forming, because everything is not being shown as of yet. But yeah, so the Clifton and the Joy. The da 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 da, the da 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 da. I was rooting for all of them, And so
Yeah.
I'll say that because I don't think that you guys have seen all of the full connections unravel.
Yeah. Well, it looks like there's some people shuffling and moving around and
Oh,
doing.
they shuffling, baby.
Like,
Two
what is happening? What is happening? Well, we wish you so much love,
Thank you.
light, and hopefully, I'm going to put this out in the universe. Hopefully, we can have, you know, a couple come back on, a Raised Love couple come back together and really like share that journey. I think that that is always, you know, what people love. I remember we had oh my gosh, Courtney from the first season found love afterwards, and she got married, and her and her husband came back and talked about their experience. Shataba from season 1 is getting married next month, and I can't wait to bring pictures to share with my YouTube family and my Rolling Out family, so you guys can see that. So she's found love. Like, people go on, and there's so many amazing stories. So we hope that you will come back and share with us, so we can all support and just, you know, send you guys much love. So keep in mind.
I will definitely do that. We'll be excited to share our story and our journey. So
Absolutely. We had Rashid and Simone also. We had them on, and they were, you know, a lot of times people connect after the show. It doesn't happen, you know, during the show, but Rashid and Simone connected a little bit on the show, and then they didn't make it at the end. They got together, and they're adorable. You know, they have a podcast together, and they came back. So Ace, we want you to come back.
thank you, Crystal. I'm so excited. I'm excited as everything continues to like connect and unfold. It's beautiful. So Thank you for the invite. We will not forget it and hold you to it.
I will reach out and make sure. I appreciate you so much. And like I said, we're wishing you and just yourself. You know, couples are great, but we send you love, sister to sister, and send you so much love and light. Have a beautiful rest of the week. We will be tuning in. Definitely can't wait for this reunion. So you have an open invitation to come back. And I can just say, literally, from watching us, you know, about almost 600 people tuned in watching live. But the thing about this is so many people have said that you were so peaceful and you just had this energy. And so many women just appreciated that. It says, yes, you and your aura, like, just a beautiful thing. So that was something that people got, and we don't hear, trust me, we don't hear that all the time. So that's a huge compliment. And we want to give you some roses on that. You gave us a great example of being, you know, at one with yourself and comfortable in your own skin. That's something that's beautiful as a woman.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And look, I can't see any of the comments, so it's not that I'm ignoring, but you know, to anything that's out there, thank you guys so much. I appreciate this and this opportunity. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Well, we look forward to having you come back. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Crystal.
All right. Good night. All right, you all. Well, another great interview. Ace was absolutely what we thought she was. Absolutely beautiful, and just a great testament. I can't wait to see. You guys were definitely hitting on that. Like, she's with Tyrone. She's with Tyrone. And I love the fact that she didn't, you know, beat around the bush. So I appreciate that. We'll check in with them, and hopefully that's a love connection, because I love Tyrone. I thought he was a great guy. I hated what happened on the show. Now, you guys stay tuned. Next week, we had Aisha is definitely, I saw Muadi asked about Aisha and Dante, and they obviously have split. We know that is out. Aisha has gone public with that. But yes, of course, I talked to Aisha, and she's coming on. So we're going to sit down and air it all out. I know she has shared a lot on her page, but I can't wait to have her come on. And, you know, we're going to take this as a teachable moment, right? Because people do get together and things don't always work out, but that doesn't mean that either of them, I'm not going to make any judgments. We're going to talk to Aisha and see. So you guys stay tuned for that. Like I said, make sure that you check out the Put a Ring on It recap. It's on OWN YouTube channel. And of course, stay tuned on Friday. I have another great interview. I have an interview with Jennifer Lewis, and I'm so excited about. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's going to air on Thursday. So make sure that you are here Thursday at 8 p.m. You've got to be here for this exclusive interview with the iconic, the legendary Jennifer Lewis. Can I tell you guys, I fanned out, and I don't ever fan out. I fan out very, very rarely, but I fanned out, and she's amazing, and she's dropping gems, and you don't want to miss it. So I love you all for watching. Make sure, if you haven't already, that you like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you all on Thursday with the incomparable Jennifer Lewis. I love you all. Have a good night.